what's your story?
Okay,
Yeah, because for me, that's like the best verbiage that I've ever used with somebody else. And because it's showing that I recognize you as a human being, and I recognize that you also are different than everybody else, but I'm not saying that you're now this like different species of like what happened to you or what's wrong with you.
Right.
But you just genuinely want to know, hey, what's your story? Which, I respect and I acknowledge the natural curiosity of human beings, so I want to answer your questions, and in fact I love having one arm, so I love to talk about it. But again, it just depends on who's asking me and why are they asking me, and I can tell why they're asking me based on how they're asking me. And in those cases, then I'll tell you that it was a shark attack, or I'll tell you I was on a mountain and I got frostbite and it froze off, or I'll tell you that aliens came and they wanted to annihilate the human race, and I sacrificed my only arm to save the benefit of the species.
Please state your name, your age, and location.
My name is Fefe, but I also go by Fefe. My age is 23, and my location is Houston, Texas.
So what was it that got you into health and fitness?
So my dad is a huge, health nut, and I didn't see him very much growing up, and so whenever we did see each other, it was always fitness oriented. We would go for hikes, we would go swimming in the ocean. He lived in Hawaii at the time, and so that was the way that he and I bonded. And so it was very important for me that I be good at fitness and I be able to keep up with him, so that way we can have a more bonded experience. My parents got divorced when I was really little, and then my dad moved to Hawaii when I was 5. And then I would fly to see my dad like once a year, once every other year, and that's how we would keep our relationship.
How have health and fitness impacted your life? And are there any specific obstacles they've helped you overcome?
Yes, so health and fitness has been the foundation of my life for sure. At first, it was about being able to challenge myself about becoming better. And initially, it came from a surface level. I wanted to look a certain way. And then once I started to see what it did for my mind and ultimately my spirit or my essence, then I really leaned into, okay, there's so much more going on that fitness can provide. There's so many other benefits that it can provide. And so that's when I started to really lean into it and explore not only the physical benefits, but then also the mental and spiritual and emotional benefits. And that's what kept on keeping me going back to fitness and gaining more knowledge, and then dedicating a regimen or a routine to fitness. I've noticed that when challenging times come around, it's really easy for my mind to sort of snowball into negative thought patterns. And the best way for me to break out of that is to move and to get into my body and get out of my head. And so yoga was the first sort of step that I took to practicing movement, Bikram yoga specifically, which is the hot yoga where you go in for 90 minutes and it's incredibly hot and you're just dripping in sweat. But that intensity took me out of my mind. I needed something that was so intense to where I had no other choice but to be in my body. And then conditioning that pattern of being in the body, then I was able to go back to that place in times of stress or in times of when I wasn't in that intense of an environment but still working out. I was able to go back to that place of pure focus and sort of a meditative state during my workouts or doing any sort of fitness activity.
So for the viewers at home, what's your story on having one arm?
So, back in the day, August 21st, 1996, it just kind of popped out this way. I don't have a crazy story. I wasn't attacked by a shark. I was just born without my right arm, and the doctors had no idea. I was supposed to be a boy and have all my limbs. and I came out as a total surprise. And it was interesting. Basically, the arm was like this sci-fi bird wing kind of a thing, and the doctors just took it off. And then I had a couple of surgeries at birth, some different other things, some issues were present. But after that, I went on my way, and I was in therapy to learn how to crawl, and the rest I learned how to do by myself. I learned how to walk by myself and tie my shoes, and my parents raised me no different than any other kid, and sometimes I would wonder, do you guys know I have one arm? Because there's some things that I don't know how to do, or I can't do, or I need help with. And but I'm so grateful that they were that way with me, because it really did push me to think, oh my God, I gotta figure this out. You know, they're not gonna be around the whole time, and they're really making me do this on my own. And I remember I said, you know, before, my dad is a very outdoorsy health guy, and so some of the activities that he and I would go do was like super physically intense. Or we went shark encountering one time, or we were on a volcano one time, and I was kind of like, man, I'm like really vulnerable out here in the element, and I'm not like you. You know, you're bigger than me, and you're stronger than me, and you have all your limbs. Do you recognize you know what kind of situation I'm in? And but yeah, I'm so grateful that it was that way, because you know, even sometimes I'll walk past a mirror and I'll be like, that's crazy. And then just keep going, because I forget. Or I don't forget, but it's just been such a condition of, I have one arm and it's the same sort of feature characteristic that I have of having blonde hair, or being 5'4". It's no different than those traits.
Yeah, it's your normal, right?
Yeah.
And for other people, it's a little bit harder to, like, I guess, relate with having one arm, because it's not a really common thing.
Yeah.
But for you, it's just like, you know, it's you.
Yeah. But what an opportunity it is to really look at how we as humans create our realities, and then as a collective, how do we create our societies and what is normal, quote unquote, because what we deem as normal, we've all collectively bought into the idea of normalcy, right? It could have easily been some other way. Like, you travel to another country and what we would consider normal is not normal there. And so it's really sort of a play on like, wow, like how we live our lives is so delicate and so fragile that we made it all up in a way. Like over here in Texas, at least, redheads aren't very common. And so when someone has red hair, like, people are like, oh, like, you know, you're kind of like a zebra in the middle of the Texas countryland, right? You're like, what is that? That's a zebra. Like, wow. Like, oh my. But if you were in the plain, in the savannah, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's a zebra. You know, like, it's whatever. So if I was in a society where more limb different people were around, or we had action figures after us, it'd be like, oh yeah, she has one arm. Like, that's whatever, you know? The same thing as, oh, that guy has black hair, or whatever the case may be. So I think it's also a really exciting time to have one arm, because things like media and social media, or different these platforms, there's more opportunities for people like myself to come forward and say, hey, we're just like you, and to show how we have all the same skill sets and all the same capabilities and are capable of achieving as much as you guys are, and to really make having one arm or being limb different normal. But it's going to take going against the grain for a little while. When we see someone who's different than us, it's sort of our unconscious reaction to other them, to say, oh, they're different than me, or othering, like how you see with races, you know, people other races, like, oh, that's that race and that's that race, even though we're all one human race, but because we look different, we other each other to sort of compartmentalize our different people, to make the processing that our brains have to do simpler and easier to do. But once you are around that quote unquote other, you realize that they're just the same as you, and they like the same things, or they like similar things, and that illusion of other goes away.
How have you adapted to working out with one arm?
My perspective on working out with one arm, it's always been, how can I do that? I've never looked at an exercise or a workout class and thought to myself, I can't do that. I've always asked, how can I do that? How can I modify that? Or how do I need to, I guess, maybe substitute the exercise or find some sort of way that I can still work the same muscles, but in a different way. And I think that it's been a really powerful mentality to have, because if you tell yourself you can't do something, the likelihood of you being able to do it is very small. And we often underestimate our abilities. And sometimes I think we get into this mindset of, well, if I'm gonna do it, it has to be that certain way. But we are all in different bodies. We're all in different spaceships. We're not going to do things the same way as every other person. And so I think that there's also been a lot of work with myself of having compassion for myself and understanding that there's going to be some adapting that has to be done, and that's okay, because I'm still going to get a workout in, I'm still going to get to my goals, I'm still going to be able to gain the strength that I want to. It might look different than somebody else, but that's okay, because I'm doing me and I'm going to do what works for me.
What motivates you to keep going to the gym on days when you don't necessarily feel like going?
So there's 3 things. The first thing that I feel is the consequence of not going. Really all the consequences, from mental, spiritual, emotional, physical. I think about how I would feel. I think about where I want to go and how if I don't go, it's going to take me longer to get to where I want to be. And especially in light of COVID, how we've seen that we think that tomorrow is given, but it's not. And so you might think, oh, okay, well, I can reach my goal next year. What if something happens to where you can't reach that goal anymore, and you could have reached it had you not procrastinated or made a different choice? And I also think about how many days I have to live. And that's the second point that I think about, is the average person lives about 79 years, which is about 28,000 days, a little over 28,000 days. So if you think about it, you're like, okay, 28,000 days, that's a lot, but your whole life is 28,000, like your life has a number of days, a finite number of days. And so I think about, okay, how many of those days do I want to not feel my best? Or do I want to have regret hanging over me? Or have the things that I know I should do hang over me? Because that's going to lower my vibe, that's going to impact my day, my overall. And just thinking about that and keeping that in mind of, okay, how many days do I have to live? And then the third thing that gets me to the gym, if none of those first 2 work, was thinking about all the people who have come up to me in the gym or at the park and have said thank you to me for showing up. Saying, you inspire so many people, or I didn't want to come out and I saw you running and it made me run faster. I mean, so many different comments have been made to me over the years. And even just when people smile at me and wave and are like, keep going, it makes my day, and I'm like, okay, if I can't get up for me, then let me do it for somebody else, because I don't know who I'm gonna see, and I don't. And I can run a whole 2 laps around Memorial Park and no one ever comes to me and say anything, but I don't know what happened in their mind when they saw me, right? I don't know, not everybody's gonna come up to you and say, thank you. Which, if you're watching this video and you ever see somebody who you wanna compliment or you wanna thank, go up and thank them, because they don't know. So those are the 3 things that keep me going to the gym.
What's something you wish someone told you in the beginning of your fitness journey?
So it's a couple of things. The first one is to keep your eyes on your own paper. Your body is not going to change the same as somebody else's. Your body at the first year of your fitness journey is not going to look the same as somebody in their 5th year of their fitness journey. So when you are in that stage of comparison, it will rob you of every ounce of joy that you could possibly feel along the way. And that's such a shame, because it's not about getting to a final point. There is no final body that you're gonna be at. It truly is the journey and the way, and every step that you take, every victory, every pound you lose, or every pound of muscle that you gain, I mean, it truly is a journey, and you have to keep that to yourself. And then the other thing I would say is that the gym is a luxury. It's not the DMV. I see so many people say, oh, I have to go to the gym. No, it's you get to go to the gym. You know how many people in the world who don't have a gym membership or don't have the facilities to go to the gym? And then all the people who are on their deathbed, who are sick and who can't work out, and you're sitting here saying that you have to go do something when it's a gift. It's a gift to be in a body. It's a gift to have legs. It's a gift. Use it and take good care of it, because there's so many people in the world who wish that they had it. And what an honor that is. The other thing I would say is that fitness is a celebration, it's not a punishment, and the power of consistency. Do not underestimate the power of consistency, because that's where your real results will show up for you. Doing a workout every now and then, it's not hurting you, but if you really want to see results, you gotta be consistent. It's a cheesy saying, but you can't outwork a bad diet, so understanding macros and understanding how much energy can you process in one sitting, what happens to the extra, all of these different things. It's so important to get your diet down first, because that will always cover up any gains you make, and that will it'll really make you confused, because you might think that you're not growing because you can't see the progress because your food is in the way, right? Or you're not making the gains that you want to make because you don't have enough protein in your diet, or you don't have enough carb, or that your food is what determines your gains, or seeing your gains. So getting that locked down is extremely important.
What advice would you give to someone who's contemplating starting their journey with fitness?
To start. There is this idea that I had. Fitness has been like winning the lottery to me, and I would be surprised to find out that someone who has bought lottery tickets and won the lottery, I'm not sure if they would have ever regretted buying any of the lottery tickets that they bought before the one that they won with, right? And so I say that because fitness can be like winning the lottery to you, but you have to start buying tickets in order to get there. So just start and have compassion for yourself and patience that it's not going to be the right fit the first time. And your fitness will most likely, at least it has for my journey and it has for everyone that I've spoken to, it will take different shapes and forms throughout your life. It'll be yoga, it'll be spin, it'll be HIIT, it'll transform and it will move with you, but just flow with it and you'll find your groove, and but just start and do something. There's a quote that I've come up with, and I'm going to copyright it, so but every day is a chance to upgrade. So if you're looking to start a fitness journey, or if you're looking to challenge yourself, or you want to turn over a new leaf, it's your day to upgrade. And you can see every day as an opportunity to grow, to stay the same. But a wise man once told me that if you're not growing, you are decaying. We're such visual creatures that we're like, they can't even listen to me because they're too busy trying to figure out what it is, right?
That's very true, yeah.
And so one of the things my mom told me from a very young age is, she said, Faith, you don't get to be shy. You don't get to, wait for people to come and talk to you. You have to go and introduce yourself, and you have to break the ice, and you have to tell people to put them at ease. You're never going to be someone that can just let the world come to you. So, and then it's true, and it sucks, but it's also a gift. There's a shadow side to it, and there's a gift side. Camera lenses freak me out because I feel that
it's like it's not a person, so it's like,
well, it's the lens of everyone. It's the lens of the world.
Yeah,
because think about it, like whatever this thing captures, You can theoretically go to every single person and show. And then every single person has been in this room at this moment, in this space and time.
That's so interesting.
Dang, yeah.
Doesn't that freak you out?
I don't think I.
You can go to
like
Ghana into somebody who lives in a tribe and show them this video, and they've been here now.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's why cameras really freak me out.
Blew my mind.
You're right. Yeah. Like, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.